Hi, this is Nick Crowder, real estate broker in Portland, Oregon, and author of The Golden Handoff, How to Buy and Sell a Real Estate Agent's Business. The key to being able to do anything we talk about in The Golden Handoff is using a very high quality CRM. Wise Agent is a CRM I highly recommend. It offers all the key features needed that I talk about in the book and allow you to buy and sell a real estate business. Wise Agent is known for being very easy to use, and it's backed up by an amazing support team that is always standing by to help. Enjoy this information about the Golden Handoff. I hope it helps your business, and you can always learn more at goldenhandoff.com. All right, well, I'm going to get started. Thanks everyone for stopping by. I'm sure we're going to have more people pop in here. As I mentioned, if you have questions, you can use the chat feature to ask questions. I'll try to get to them. And I'm going to be sharing the full in-depth presentation I've been giving to audiences out here in the Northwest where I live in Portland, Oregon, and talking about the Golden Handoff. That's the book I just wrote, and it's about how to buy and sell a real estate agent's business. So there's really two fundamental problems you face when you're in real estate. And the first one we all have is, how do I grow a business? It's how do I get my first clients? How do I get started? And there's a lot of different ways to do real estate. So you can do prospecting, marketing, you can door knock. I started out doing a lot of open houses, which worked really well for me. And you can work by referral, which is an excellent way to work. And I think most people that are looking at how to grow a business long-term come back to the referral business as a way to grow your business. And so one thing that I hear from like really big mega teams, guys like Brett Tanner in Arizona, who's doing, 5, 6, 800 deals a year, is that referrals are great, but you can't scale. So you can't go from 20 deals a year to 200 deals a year by referral. And in the past, that's been true. And the Golden Handoff allows you to get referrals basically from an agent when they retire, when they go back to a different job, when they leave town, and dramatically grow your business by adopting those clients. And I'll go into more detail. The second problem people have is, how do I retire? The average realtor in America right now is close to 60 years old. And I would say, in my experience, 90% of people, even the ones that have good businesses, do not have a plan on how are they going to exit real estate. So if you ask yourself, what does my last day in this business look like? I would say most people say, well, I'm going to wind down. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to just keep my favorite clients, my best clients, and I'm going to let the other stuff just kind of fall off. And the problem with that is, when you do that, all those other people that you're not helping, all the people that you choose not to stay in touch with, are going to work with a different agent. And when they do that, you don't get any benefit. You don't get any income. There's no referrals. They just kind of go away, just like all clients go away if you don't stay in touch. And so this gives you a way to build your business proactively in a way that you could sell it to an adopting agent when you're ready to retire, but still get income for years and years and years afterwards. And I'm going to go into the details of the contracts. I'm going to go into the details of the splits, everything. So again, one of the things that people talk about referrals in a negative sense is that usually you typically get a referral like this. You get, someone calls you and they are moving to town, and their agent calls you and refers them to you, or you have a client, you just sold their house and they introduce you to a neighbor. So it's kind of a one-to-one. But this book allows you to grow exponentially by referral. So instead of one-on-one, one person giving you one referral, you have one retiring agent who is giving you, say, for example, 300 clients at one time. And I can say this from experience. I've adopted 5 databases, and some of them were 200 people. One of them was 500 clients. Really great agent that retired and trusted me to take over where they left off. So this is a way you can grow exponentially and also by referral. And this isn't something that people have really realized is a possibility. Now, there's another level to this too, and this has been some of the interesting things. I've been talking to brokers and owners of real estate companies all over the country and actually all over the world. And the question is, well, what is the value of a brokerage? And if you ask about that, the value of a brokerage is really the value of the agents and the value of their combined business. And I think a lot of companies have figured this out. That's why we've seen a lot more in the way of recruiting, a lot more in the way of training, so that people can learn how to grow a successful business as an agent, because that makes the brokerage better. And what's the value of an agent's business? Well, it's really the number of clients multiplied by the times that they do business with you or they refer clients to you. And so it all comes down at the end of the day to the clients and the relationship you have with those clients, and what that'll translate into. What is your value as an agent is based on what are your numbers, how many clients you have, how many people do you have working by referral. That will give you a sense of what your business is worth. And then if you're a broker or you're running a company or you have a big team, the next level up really is all of those agents, all of their business. That really is the value of a brokerage. So if you ask yourself, okay, if I wanted to grow by 300 clients, and I don't mean leads, this is not buying leads, this is buying real clients, people that have a relationship with an agent, that have trust with an agent, people that have bought and sold with an agent. And so you ask, okay, so if I was going to try to grow by 300 clients, and I have an opportunity to adopt a client list of 300 people, how long does that take? Well, it takes that other agent's entire career. And that's part of the power of this is it can take an incredibly long time to build a business. And anyone who's been in real estate or started out like I did, when I started out, I knew 5 people. Now we've got thousands of people in our database. We've got hundreds and hundreds of past clients, closing in on like 1,000 past clients. And so it takes a lot of time and effort by a lot of people if you have a team, or if you're a solo agent, a lot of focused effort to grow by that much. And the Golden Handoff allows you to grow exponentially, because you benefit from the entire career of the agent who's retiring. So I want to talk a little bit about my story and how I got into doing this. When I started doing this 5 years ago, there's a woman who shared the office next to me. I talk about her in the book, Renee. And Renee had an excellent business. She was doing probably 8 to 10 million a year. She had a lot of high-end clients, mostly referral business. And she decided to get out of the business because she started a family. And so after her first child, she came back to the business. But after her second, she realized she really couldn't work 6, 7 days a week, the hours that it was taking. And she needed to do something else. So she went back to working kind of a corporate job, 9 to 5. You have your evenings and weekends off. And when she left, I asked her, I said, can I help your clients? If they need something, can I be their agent and I'll send you a referral fee? And she said, well, that's great, but you're already successful and I want to help someone out. And there's this new agent he's doing okay, but he needs more work. So I'm going to let him stay in touch with my clients and help them if they need something. And I said, I just graciously said, okay, well, I hope that works. And if it doesn't, let me know. And I'm happy to talk again in the future. This is a script you use with a seller when they're not ready to sell yet. Or if you don't get the listing, same idea. And so 6 months later, she came to me and she said, you know what, it's not working. I have to go to all the appointments. The guy that I trusted to try to be marketing to my people isn't really reaching out. He's not calling them and checking in. And so people are going with other agents because I don't want to do the work anymore. And the guy that I thought was going to help he's not doing a good enough job. And so we sat down and she said, well, do you think it's too late? Can you take over and do something with this? And the thing that's important about this is when I took over from her, that's when I built the basic framework of the process of the Golden Handoff. I didn't have a name for it, but we just basically figured out how are we going to communicate to the clients, who is going to do what, and kind of what is the sequence of events in making sure that we introduce this to people so they can take this and run with it. So we built that out. And as I called people, the basic plan is, she called her A clients. We sent a letter to everyone. We sent an email to everyone. And then I started calling and introducing myself to everyone. And I'll share my script with you as well. And it's in the book and on the website too. If you've signed up there, you probably already have it. If not, you can go to goldenhandoff.com and get all of those resources that I'm using. And so I called all of her clients. It was something like 400 people. And there was about $2 million listed or in escrow with other agents from her database. And so that was a big aha. What it made me realize is that all of us are replaceable, no matter how deep of a connection we think we have with our clients, if we're not available, if we're not in the business, they're going to find someone else that can help them, as humbling as that might be. And so what also happened is we did a ton of business with her people, and I was able to send her a lot of referral income. She was making enough on referrals to pay her mortgage just from that. So it was a big deal because she had kind of taken a pay cut, leaving real estate to work kind of more normal hours. The next story is David. David is a guy who's in his early 30s and got an opportunity to go to work on a movie production in LA. And David, I didn't know. Renee shared the office next to me at Keller Williams in Portland, but David was at a different brokerage entirely. And we had the same home inspector. And so when I heard from my home inspector that he was leaving town, I just reached out and told him that, hey, I've got this program where I can take care of your clients. I can send you referral income. And so we met up and he was on board with that. And in real numbers, in 1 year, we did $6 million in sales. And to give that context, the average sales price in Portland at the time was probably $330. Right now we're about $360. And so I sent $50,000 in referral fees to David. It made my team an extra $100,000, and we got to help a lot of really great people. And he told me that it was the best business decision he had ever made. And he ended up coming back to the business. I handed his business back over to him, which was part of our agreement. So don't just look at people who are older. It's not just about who you think is retiring. It's people that are transitioning, people that are moving out of state. There's a lot of opportunity, and I'll go into more of that too. But the important thing is this. People think that, I'm going to wind down, I'll slow down and just work with my favorite people. I'll stop doing the marketing. I'll just take the calls I get. But that doesn't work. That's trying to be passive about it. And we all know this. Passive marketing doesn't work. You need to have active marketing. You need to be sending newsletters. You need to be sending items of value. You need to be calling your clients and checking in and asking for referrals and asking for business. And as soon as you stop doing it, your business really falls off. And if you do it for a couple years, all of a sudden you don't have any clients anymore, or your business drops off substantially. And so that's why you need someone to take over. There has to be a person, there has to be an agent that is still doing the active part of being in real estate. The other thing is, when I started doing this, I actually reached out. I'm in Keller Williams. So at the time we had 750 offices. Every office has a team leader, which is kind of like the broker of the office or the recruiter. And I think now it's like 1,000, but at the time it was right around 750. And we emailed everyone. My team leader, Nathan Brown, emailed everyone and said, hey, one of our agents is working on this retirement system. Is anyone else out there doing this? And unfortunately, the response we got was no. No one got back to us with any real models that I could use, because I was looking for models I could follow. And so the response we got was, hey, that's a great idea. We really need this. And if you've got a model, you should really write a book about it and share it. And so naively, I thought it would take me a couple months. It took 3 years. And here we are now. It's finally out. I'm very excited that people are able to use it and put it into practice and have a plan now for retiring. So here's some real numbers from my experience so far. So in 2012, that's when I started doing this. We did $2.5 million of additional volume just from retiring agents, which meant an extra $60,000 in GCI, which is gross commission income to the team. In 2013, we did $6.5 million in volume for an additional $162,000 in GCI, and that's just in 1 year, and that's just from the retiring agents. My team that year did something like $25 million total. In 2014, that's when David came back to town, and so we did, with 4 other databases, we did $4 million in volume for just under $100,000 in GCI. So I share that just because I haven't taken over a mega agents business. I'm currently talking to 2 mega agents who are in the $50 to $60 million a year range in volume, and this year my team will do around 40. So it's interesting talking to folks that have bigger businesses than me, and seeing the impact that would have to go from doing 40 million to possibly doing 80 or 90 or 100 million the next year just from taking over one business. That's very, very much a real possibility with this program. So the deal, so it's a referral agreement, and it's something that I like this because it's easy, it's simple.
and everyone understands what a referral agreement is in real estate. So the first year, the agreement is I keep 70% of the commissions from their database for any deals that are closed, and they get a 30% referral fee. In year 2, it goes to 80-20. In year 3, it goes 90%, 10%, and then it goes to 0. The reason it steps down is this. In Oregon, both people have to be licensed for us to share commissions. And so that's just one of the things you have to do. Other states, I don't know if that's the rules. So you would want to confirm that with your local broker, what you need to do to be above board with this. But the idea is that at the beginning of the agreement, the value of the business and the number of deals that happen is very, very closely related to the work that the retiring agent has done. And as you go through time, the deals that are happening 2, 3, 4 years later are really based on the work that me and my team are doing in terms of staying in touch and being proactive and helping clients. And the other thing is, if there's people that are added to this, so if the retiring agent goes to a barbecue and meets a new neighbor and they mention they're thinking of upsizing or downsizing, they can, of course, refer that over just like any one agent can refer a new client and get a 20% referral fee on that. Now, again, I've talked about this a lot in podcasts and interviews I've done. You can, of course, modify this. This is what I've used. It's worked very well. All the agents I've worked with so far feel that this is very fair and makes perfect sense. So I've just stuck with it. And again, on goldenhandoff.com, if you sign up for the email list, I have I'll give you access to all the Word docs, to our contracts and scripts and everything. So another question I get a lot is, well, why don't you just sell it outright? You know, if you're retiring, you just want to get a check and hand it over and be done with it. Well, the problem with that is it's very, very difficult to predict what the future value of a real estate business is, because you are going to have some people that are going to have, you know, their second favorite agent, and they might not stick with the adopting agent. And you also don't know, if you're adopting a database, you don't know really how loyal the retiring agent's clients are until you get started, until you start calling people and introducing yourself and emailing and checking in with people. And so that's why it's critical, I think, to do it on the back end. The other big benefit is there's no upfront money. And that means that you can take over quite a few of these businesses because you're not writing a check up front. You're sharing the wealth on the back end. And that's, I think, the fairest thing. And it's not just a one-way street. Imagine if you sold your business in 2012 at the bottom of the market when a lot of people weren't moving. It would have been worth less then than it is now. And vice versa, someone who's selling a business right now, if we have another shift, it's going to be less productive possibly in the future than it is right now. I think that, you know, there's the factors that go into it are how strong of a relationship the retiring agent has with their clients. What is the adopting agent's effort? And then market variability. So just what I talked about, you know, we all know that the market does not move in a straight line. It goes up, it goes down, and it is something it can be very hard to predict. But those are the factors that go into figuring out what really is the value of a database. But it doesn't give you a guarantee that you're going to get the same results or better results or worse results than the retiring agent got when you take over. So I want to talk about the money. I go over this in the chapter, but what happens when you get a new listing or you've got a buyer that is very influential at a company or organization or church? Well, you get other business from it. So you get, first of all, this deal is based on direct income. And that means that's from clients of the retiring agent. So if you take over a business and they hand you 300 clients, anytime one of those people does a deal, then you're paying a referral fee to that retiring agent from those clients in the database. But there's a lot more that happens in that. It's not just those direct deals you do with those adopted clients. You've got indirect income. So for example, if you get a listing from that database, you're going to be getting sign calls. You can do open houses. You can market, you know, just listed, just sold. Brokers opens open houses. You can door knock the neighborhood. You can call people and invite them to the open house. You can do all the things that you normally do around a listing. So what happens when you get a listing is, we all know you're going to get extra business. You're going to get new clients. You'll get more sellers and more buyers. Hopefully you get 1 or 2 clients for every listing you have. And you also get referrals. So when the people in this database build a relationship with you because you're reaching out and calling them and they're getting your newsletter and you're staying in touch and being helpful to them, they're going to refer people to you. You keep all of that money too. So on the indirect income, there's no referral fee owed because those are not people in the database. When you get new referrals to people that are not in the database, those are also new clients to you as an adopting agent, but you keep all of the commission income on those deals. And the other thing is you have the potential for your retiring agent to be referring you new people. Now on those, you pay a referral fee just like you would for any agent referral. And that helps you, again, get more and more value out of this and build a bigger and bigger business. So another thing is a lot of people want to know, well, how many deals can I really expect from this? And for 2 reasons. 1, how much money am I going to make? And also 2, you want to know how much time and energy and money am I going to spend on marketing in order to get a certain number of deals. So you don't want to add thousands and thousands of dollars of expense per month if it means you're only going to get 1 deal. And likewise, if you're going to end up getting 20 or 30 deals more, you might need to hire some more people to help out. So for example, I want to just say, let's look at a database of say 200 clients. And let's say 75% of the business that agent's doing is repeat and referral. So that's about 150 deals you can expect from a database that size. Now, they don't all happen at once. People move on average about every 10 years. There's a pretty big bell curve of 7 to 15 years. But for the sake of this, I like to just use 10 years. It seems like a pretty even, reasonable number. And so if you figure people move every 10 years, it gives you a number of about 15 deals a year you can expect from a client list of 200 clients. Now, I want to make sure that you understand when I'm saying 200 clients, I mean people that have actually done business with that agent or have referred people to that agent. You might end up getting a lot more people, but you're going to have what you call a lead or a future client or a possible client or a B client or even a C client. If you have a database you take over and there's 1,000 people, they're not all going to be actual past clients or people that refer. So make sure you differentiate that when you're doing this math. If you have a database with 200 clients and 800 leads, you definitely want to use the client number to do this, not the leads, because it's not all the leads are going to convert, as we know. So if you're looking to grow your business, I go over a lot of this in the book. I have a whole chapter dedicated to just finding retiring agents. So number 1, what's been most successful for me, and I think is the easiest place to start, is starting with your brokerage. So I happen to be at a very big brokerage. We have about 250 agents. So that gives me the benefit of, there's a lot of people that get in the business and it's not the right thing. There's people that have been doing it a long time that are retiring. And so what we see is having the relationship with your broker or your team leader is going to give you the access to knowing who's leaving the business. And that is a great time to start this conversation, because even if someone's only been doing this 2 years, they have relationships that have value, and you want to reach out to them and be in conversation and see if you can adopt their client list. The other thing is realtor associations. If you're an independent agent or you're at a smaller boutique brokerage, being involved in your MLS, being involved in your NAR chapter, being involved in your community through other events and realtor groups is going to give you access to knowing who's kind of coming and going. The other thing is your community at large. So just the community of realtors. And what I mean by that is in Portland, there's a lot of people that do brokers opens. You see people advertising. You co-op deals. So you're constantly working with agents at different brokerages all over the place. And you want to be thoughtful of, is someone out there who was a mega agent kind of winding down? Did someone's advertising stop? Are the people starting to not be as active? They don't have as many listings. You don't talk to them as much. That's a sign of someone trying to wind down, and it's the right time to get them is to start the conversation before they completely shutter down their shop, because it's much harder to revive a relationship than it is to transfer one. The other thing is marketing. So I'm using the book. So I have a couple thousand copies of the book under my desk right now at my office, and I'm using it basically as a way to start conversations. And there's a lot of people in my market that are of that average group of being close to 60 years old, wanting to retire, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to do it. And so I just share the book as a way for them to understand that there is a way to retire and still make money. And if anything, it can help them retire sooner and make sure that they don't try to wind down, that they do have a smooth transition to a good agent. And so you can do that. We're looking at people whose licenses have gone inactive. Obviously, I mentioned the brokerage, knowing who's leaving the brokerage but not going to a different one, and having different marketing pieces, just like you would market to sellers of a house. These agents have businesses that have a lot of value, and most agents don't understand how much value they really have. And I would say that, again, I use that metaphor of a seller of a house because it's a very similar process. Not everyone you talk to is going to be ready right now, but they might be ready in 3 years or 5 years. They might be ready when the market slows down, that when it's not as fun and it's not as easy, that maybe that's the time that they use to decide to bow out of the business. And so staying in touch with those agents, sharing stories of other people you're helping and how it's working, just like you would stay in touch with a seller who is waiting for their kids to graduate high school in 5 years before they sell and move. You want to stay in communication just like that. Another thing you can look at is production analysis. Now, different people in different markets have different levels of access to this type of information, but out here, typically I see title companies and the brokers of the offices, the actual, reviewing broker or principal broker, the guy or gal running the whole show will have access to what are the metrics of other realtors. And again, if you see someone that's been doing 50 million a year in sales for year after year after year, and all of a sudden they're at 30 and then 20, that is a sure sign that someone is winding down, and it's the great opportunity to approach them about what their plans are when they retire. Now, the flip side of this is all the folks that are retiring and looking for someone to take over. And I would say that this is really probably one of the most critical things when you're looking to retire from the business, is finding the right adopting agent. So first and foremost, you want to find someone who's already successful. You want to find someone that knows how to buy and sell, someone with experience. You don't want to teach someone how to work with a buyer or how to do a listing or how to work with investors. You want someone that knows how to do that, so you can spend your time talking about how to best relate to your clients. You need to make sure that the adopting agent has the resources to grow. Growing isn't always easy. I can say that, having gone from 9 million to 12 million to 25, and now we're close to 40. It takes more people, it takes more time, it takes more money. You might, if you're a solo agent and you're going to add 1,000 clients, you probably need to start looking at getting a buyer's agent or an assistant, or start looking at building a team. And so you have to be prepared to invest in those resources, and you need to make sure that if you're going to retire and pick an agent, that they're able to do so. The other thing is ethics. You want to pick someone who's going to be honest with you and honest with your clients. I hate that I even have to put that up there, but it's really important, because you do not want to be chasing an agent around trying to make sure they're paying you the referral fees. And you want to make sure that if you refer someone to your clients, which is what you're doing, when you retire, you refer your clients to one person to trust and take care of them. You need to authentically believe that is the right person, that it's the person. And I would say the easiest way to decide that is, would you hire them? If you were going to buy or sell property, would you hire that agent? And if you can say yes, then that's probably the right person. But if you have anxiety or hesitation, it's a sign that it might not be the right person to take over. So the last one is energy. Do you like this person? Do they have a good energy about them, or aura, or their mojo, whatever you want to call it? You want them to relate as well as they can to your clients. And I think that's a good place to start. It doesn't mean they're exactly like you. It doesn't mean that they run their business exactly like you did. But you want to make sure that you have a good feeling when you talk to that person and when you're working with them. So who not to hire? This is just as important. So one thing everyone sees in real estate is when someone doesn't work with you because they have a buddy that just got licensed, is usually that friend doesn't take it real seriously. They're pretty casual about the whole process. And you want to make sure that if your friend is a successful agent and they have the energy and ethics and resources to take over, that they really take it seriously, that this is a very serious business decision and has a very big financial impact for you as a retiring agent, and has a big impact on it has a really big impact on your clients. So you want to make sure that if it is a friend, that they're taking this seriously and they're going to do what they say they're going to do. The other thing is your assistant. Now, assistants are great because you already know them. So you obviously like this person, you hired them, you think they do good work because you've kept them. But the problem is if you take your assistant and you take them from the back office and you put them in the front where they're out meeting with people and they're running around, it's a really different job. And as you know, being a good real estate agent is not easy. It's not for everyone. And so if you pick your assistant, what you need to do is you need to transition them into a salesperson first and then get another assistant, because if they're going to take over your business, they're going to need an assistant. So if that's the right person, again, you're going to need to make sure that they're comfortable in the sales role, working for commission, writing the checks to run the business, and then help them find an assistant to support them. The other thing is the charismatic new agent. It's funny right now, the rookie of the year is the lady that is the office next to mine. She's 25, absolute go-getter, comes in early, works hard. I hear the conversation she's having. She's asking great questions. But she's just trying to get her first assistant, and she's going to work next to try to get her first buyer's agent. If I tripled her business or quadrupled her business, it might be setting her up for failure because it might be too much too fast. So make sure if there's someone that's newer that they have the resources and systems in place if you're going to really make a huge dent in their business. Now, if you're doing 10 or 15 or 20 deals a year, it might be something that they can take on. But if we're like, so for my team, we'll do about 100 deals this year, that would be way too much to ask of any solo agent. The next one is the agent who needs more business. Now, realtors are very socially oriented. I think that we're all kind of in a servant role of helping people. And this is unfortunately the person who needs more business is not the right person because they are struggling for a reason. And even if it doesn't seem real apparent to you, you're going to find out if you give all of your clients to them, why are they struggling? Why are they not doing well? And you don't want to give your clients to someone who's struggling in business, because if someone is struggling in business and you give them more clients, they're going to just struggle with more people. And that's not going to help you and it's not going to help them. And lastly, what most people do is they don't hire anyone. Most people just scale down, they phase out, and what happens is all those people you're not talking to, all the people you're not being proactive with are going to work with other people. And when you're ready to retire with this model, you have the opportunity to pick someone to take over for you and to help your clients. Because if you don't pick someone, they will. And at least in this way, with a Golden Handoff, you can pick a good adopting agent that can take good care of your clients. So here's how it works. First, you connect with an agent to adopt your clients. This person is the adopting agent. Now, if you're the adopting agent, you're going to connect with the retiring agent who's looking to get out of the business. Second, you announce your retirement to the clients and that the adopting agent will be taking care of the clients going forward. Now, the way we do this, and again, if you're part of the email list, you already have access to our resource page and our secret, all of the Word docs and publisher files that I've got up online. But the actual letter's up there, and it basically says, hey, it's been great working with you. I'm going to be moving out of town. I'm going to be retiring. I'm going to be changing careers. But I wanted to make sure you had a great agent to take care of you. And Nick and his team is awesome, and they're going to take great care of you. And you'll be hearing from them, and they'll be calling you to check in, and you'll be getting their newsletter. And you can always say hi or email me if you need anything. But day-to-day stuff's going to be handled by Nick going forward. So basically, I help them with a letter. We mail it out for them on their letterhead. And then the adopting agent calls their top people. Now, if they could call everyone, that would be better. But if they don't have the time or energy, or they don't want to, it's important that they call their like A+ clients. And I tell the retiring agent, hey, anyone you think that would be really surprised to get this letter and not have gotten a call from you, you should call. So once those calls are made by the retiring agent, once the letter goes out, then the adopting agent calls all the clients and introduces themselves. And I've got the script in the book, and it's online too, but it's very simple. It's just, hi, this is Nick. I promised Renee I would call and check in with you. And so I wanted to see if you had any real estate questions or needs I could help with, and just introduce myself. And that's it. It's a very simple script, but there's a kind of a secret little bit of language in there that really sets the tone for the relationship. And it's this, I promised the retiring agent, so I promised Renee I would call and introduce myself and see if you had any questions or needs. So you're doing a couple of things. You're reminding them that you're calling on behalf of their agent that they like, that they worked with. You're letting them know that you made a promise that you're keeping. So you're setting the tone for your character. And you're starting the process from a point of giving, not taking. So you're saying, do you have any questions or needs I can help with? Not, who do you know that wants to buy or sell, or do you have a referral for me? It's a very warm call, and it goes very well. The vast majority of clients are going to be very happy that the retiring agent thought of them, and they're going to be very happy that a new agent is reaching out and talking to them. Because people's expectations of realtors is that they don't call back and they don't follow through. And so if you can do that right out of the gate, it really sets the tone for that relationship going forward. And then next, you collect referral fees on closed deals for your clients for the next 3 years. And then if you keep your license for the rest of your life and just do your online ed every couple of years, whatever the requirement is where you're at, you could refer new people all the time and get extra income without actually having to do any of the work, none of the appointments, none of the negotiations, no showing houses, no listings, none of that. So that's what it looks like from the retiring agent's standpoint. Now, it's really important that you have a good database. Now, at the end of the day, the thing that matters, the thing that proves you have clients is your client list. And that's in a database. Now, I suggest using a CRM. There's some great ones out there for real estate specific. And if you're in a different industry, you might have a different program. But here's kind of the basics. You need to have the clients categorized. So the old school version of this is like A, B, C, lead. I like to have descriptive tagging for our categories. So is this person a past client? Are they someone we think is a future client? Do we know when they're going to do something? Are they an investor? Are they a builder? Are they a developer? Are they a commercial client? My team handles commercial and land and development as well. So we have more categories than most folks. But typically, or are they an advocate client? You're going to need to know their name, their spouse's name. If they've got a family, hopefully you know their names. Phone number, I showed one here, but it could be, you might have an office phone, a home phone, a cell phone, spouse phone, partner phone, anything. So just anything you got, it should be in there. Email addresses, their address. If they own multiple properties, it's great to have their home address plus all the properties that they own. And any notes you have. So in this case, I said, this is someone who bought a house in 2012. They might sell in a couple years because they're going to be upsizing or downsizing. And they had asked about investment property. That way, so if I take over a business and I have these notes, I know that I'm scheduling an appointment in early 2016 to check on them and see if they still want to sell. I am asking them about when they're ready to invest in investment property and what their criteria are. Now, the cool thing is, the other thing that we use is, good CRMs will allow you to have categories and tags usually. And so when you take in a database, we have a tag that it came from that retiring agent. So it would say, past client Renee. And so we can call all those people in sequence. So I can call all of Renee's clients. And that way I can have the same script when I'm calling them. I can say, hey, we met because Renee asked me to take care of all of her friends and family and past clients. And I'm just checking in to see if you have any questions or needs. So it's important to know what their category is in terms of who they are, but also, of course, you need to know where they came from. So that's the basics of a database. And again, you want to make sure that whichever system you're using, that you can easily import and export this client information because this is what's going to allow you to take the information out of whatever system the retiring agents use it and then import it into the system that you're using. And if by some miracle you're using the same system, that's usually easier, but chances are it's not. The other thing I'll mention real quick about the database is I've had the experience quite a few times where I am working with a retiring agent to see what are their I'm working with a retiring agent to see what their client list is and what their database is, and a lot of times it's all over the place. You've got a list of people that are getting houses emailed to them every day through your MLS or your IDX system. You've got maybe an Excel spreadsheet. You've got your phone. You've got your email. But a lot of folks, even successful agents, sometimes don't have a very good unified database. And so this is a way for you to help them. There's different databases you can use that will help you import from all these different places. So import their Facebook list, their email list, their Google contacts, do an export on their phone and import that if they're using different smartphones as their main source of a business. If they had a CRM, what it was, and if they've got just an Excel spreadsheet, take all of those different things and put them in one spot, and then help that retiring agent kind of sort them out, categorize them, and then give you their notes. It's important too at that point between the retiring agent and the adopting agent to go over the whole database. And I like to print it out in paper and just go through it and talk about who these people are and who's related to who all works at the same company. If there's different social groups that are agent, so if there's, excuse me, if there's a group from church, or if there's a group from their golf game, if there's a group of other parents out there from the school groups, it's good to know who those groups are so that you can relate to them better. And I like to sit down with a retiring agent and go over the list one by one, and if there are good notes, make sure you add to them. If there's no notes, create those notes. So in 3 years from now, when you're calling them again and you're sending them an email, that you can relate to them as well as possible. So again, it all starts with just the idea that you can do this. So thanks for everyone who's come in today. It starts with having a contract with a retiring agent and an adopting agent. The letter, like I said, I kind of described that earlier. It basically just is the retiring agent telling their clients that they're going to be transitioning out of the business and that someone's going to be taking over, and that they really believe in this adopting agent and they endorse them wholeheartedly. And then you've got the script. When you're the adopting agent, you're going to call everyone. And again, I promised Brene that I would call you and check in and see if you had any questions or needs. That's it. It's very simple. It's easier than you think, and I'm really excited. I've been hearing from people all over the place that are putting this in practice. Brenda Piper from California at KW sent me a letter today, actually. She started doing this 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, working with her team leader in California. I think they're in the Roseville office. And she already has 4 databases that she's been able to basically work with a return agent and buy their database and start working with those clients. And she's already getting listings and buyers from it. It's so exciting to see other agents out there take this and put it to use. So again, if you had any questions, you can use the chat feature to ask a question at this time. If you've already bought the book, thank you very much. If you haven't, you can buy it on Amazon, or you can go to goldenhandoff.com and I'll sign the copy if you buy it directly from me. One other thing I'm doing is I'm going to be writing a new book here in the next year or so about teams, but I have a white paper that I use for my team, and that's at the bottom, sellpdx.com/team. And there's my information if you wanted to give me a call or send me an email. And again, if you're not part of the email list yet for goldenhandoff.com, please do email me or just go there and sign up on the sign-up sheet on the website so that I can keep you updated. And as we get new resources and I learn of other ways that people are finding each other and connecting and their success stories, I can share it with you and share best practices and updates to the book and the process. All right, so I have a question from Brenda. Can you give us suggestions for the best way to approach potential retiring agents that don't know you, don't want to offend them by supposing anything? So sure, thanks for that question. This is a great question. So how do I approach people I don't know? So I would say I did this not too long ago with David. I didn't know David. We had the same home inspector, so that was kind of our connection. I just simply said, hey, we have the same home inspector, and I see your signs out there all the time, and I hear great things about you. You've got a great reputation. We've never done a deal together, but I heard you might be leaving town, and I have a program where I help agents by taking care of their clients and sending them referral income, and I'd love to talk to you about it. That's almost word for word how that first call went. And I think with other people, I didn't have the benefit of having the book either. And now that it's done, I mean, like I said, I would just say, hey, I've always admired your business. You've done great work, and you've got a good reputation. Assuming they do. I mean, I hope you want to take over a business of someone who has a good reputation. And I just read this book called The Golden Handoff about how to buy and sell a business, and it was crazy. I didn't even know this was possible, and I just wanted to give this one to you as a gift. And I'm curious, what is your plan for your business when you retire? And then just let them say, because most people are not going to have a plan. And so if you can offer a solution, if you can help them with something, and I guarantee you that 9 out of 10 people you talk to are not going to have any plan at all. They have no idea they can make money after they retire. They have no strategy, and you can help provide a solution. So that's how I approach people I don't know. I'm starting to approach more and more people now that I don't know, and using the book. And in some cases, they're really competitors of mine. And that's a huge win, because if you can help a competitor retire, you are going to increase your market share, and you're going to have one less competitor when you're working in a certain market as an agent. So any other questions out there that I can answer as we're wrapping up? Well, hang on just for another second here. It looks like those were all the questions. Thanks for that. That's a really big question I get all the time, so I'm glad it was asked. I hope you guys have found this insightful and useful. And again, I hope you get the book if you haven't already, and just start the conversation, ask the question, talk to your team leader, your broker about someone who's left recently or is thinking about leaving, and offer them a solution. It's going to do wonders for you. I cannot stress enough how big of a positive impact this has had on my team and my business, and how much I've seen it help, just really, really help people that are getting out of the business. It's a huge win-win, and even the clients are happy that someone thought to take care of them even when they were going to retire. So again, feel free to stay in touch with thegoldenhandoff.com, and you can always email me or call me directly. And I look forward to everyone sharing their stories of how they're putting the Golden Handoff to work for them. Thanks again, guys, and take care. Bye.